Hi, I am back. We're gonna talk a little bit about. I want to do like compare and contrast between my two pregnancies. Um, Talk about pregnancy in summer, and I was trying to think if there was something else. So I just wanted to like start by saying that like again I've touched on this in the past, but what I'm really excited about is that I with my first pregnancy with my daughter, I shared that experience with a family member, and it it was wonderful, to say the least. Our due dates were a month apart. Well, like let's say 6 weeks apart, or 5 weeks apart. It was something like that because her son came like a few days early and my daughter came a month early. So they ended up being 2 weeks apart. He is 2 weeks older than my daughter, but he was supposed to be like over a month older. So, it was a very cool experience. We're both like, neither one of us are like young moms. You know what I mean? It's not like neither one of us are starting out young. I live in a part of the country where I feel like there are more young moms than moms my age. And I realize I'm not like old, but I am 32 and I'm on my second pregnancy. So I was 29 with my first. And this family member is actually a little bit older than me. I don't think there's anything wrong with any of it. Like, I'm not saying anything. I personally thought that I would have kids younger just because my mom had me when she was 30. And again, especially I feel like probably when I was growing up, that was like unheard of around here. That was unheard of. And I feel like that's always been more popular like on the coasts and stuff. That's not where I'm at. And so here it's like that's what you do, and it's less that way now. But that being said, so all your life you hear all these different things about pregnancies and being a mom and like all this different stuff, and then you're experiencing it like in your 30s, and so there's that. I don't really know where I was going with that, but other than it is a dynamic. It is a part of me being pregnant. Like, I'm 32. Hello, what do you want from me? Whatever. So here's the lowdown. So with my daughter, I was saying something. Anyway, with my daughter, she was due in October, but she was born in September. This one is due in September. I don't know if she'll come in August or September. I don't know what it's going to look like, but basically I can, in that way, do a side-by-side comparison with my pregnancy. So again, this channel is meant to do documentation for myself, for future me, because having a third child is on the table for discussion. Not now, obviously. We need to see how medically I do with this one, where before it was only ever going to be two. As per my husband's wishes more than mine, like I actually wanted 4 kids. I thought I was going to start earlier, but I actually wanted 4 kids. My husband was like, we got together, he was like, no, absolutely not. Like, no. 2 kids and a dog. And I'm like, I mean, I already have a dog, but okay. So, but it's fine. And we are older. My husband is older than me. And so, yes, I understood. I agree. Hang on, my ring light it's just done. Let's just get rid of it because there's no point. So anyway, so now that we're on our second girl, we may discuss having a third. We'll just see. So I want to document this for myself, because now I'm kicking myself that I have nothing to go back on with my daughter. I tracked things, but it was like on a calendar, I guess, and I threw it away. I must not have kept a planner. And I'm like, what? That or I'll find the planner from my daughter like another time, but I'm like, I always keep planners of like big years in my life. Like my wedding was not even a big wedding, but I have the planner for like our marriage, our wedding, you know, honeymoon, all that stuff. I have the planner for that. There's not much in it because we didn't have a big wedding, but so anyway, I don't have any like record or documentation. I literally have to go off my memory alone. And I have found that since I had my daughter, I have gotten better at like journaling, writing things down, writing letters to my daughter, like just these different things. I've never been accused of having a good memory, so I'm like, why would I rely on myself? Why wouldn't I write this stuff down somewhere? So I am keeping track, keeping record, and then also like I want to document this way. So this one is just really, it is for myself, but it's a side-by-side comparison in terms of like the timeline and stuff too. Again, it is a little bit difficult because I'm going along with my due date at this point, where the last time, again, essentially everything was like a month off, you know. So, but I live, I guess, in the Midwest. I guess that's what we're considered. And I have to say, we are in the middle of a heat wave right now. A heat index, heat advisory. A 4-day heat advisory. And I know they may have extended it. I need to look. Last time I checked, today was supposed to be the last day, but the next like 3 or 4 days, the highs are pretty high, but we might not be having a heat advisory. But anyway, so like, you know, and I know a lot of women say, being pregnant in the summertime. Okay, when I was pregnant in the summertime with my daughter, I was living my best life. I was like, I don't think I could ever be pregnant in the wintertime. And I still stand by that. But it is different this time than last because the heat is getting to me. I do lose my breath easier. And that plays a part in it, and especially with the humidity and stuff, that makes it harder. It definitely makes it harder. But I still kind of stand by that because even though we're in the middle, the heat advisory is not helping. It is not. And it does feel like this baby, because I'm carrying this baby different. I feel like this baby is like laying on my lungs or something, like something's going on. But I'll get into that in a little bit more because I have a couple theories about that. But basically, in terms of like the summertime thing, what I was going to talk about is, you know, and I did develop preeclampsia in my pregnancy with my daughter. And that in the summer, like, that's like a bad combination because I'm a person who swells anyway. And then you have like heat and humidity, and then I'm pregnant. And so I was just like, people were like, I have never seen like legs and feet look like that. I've never seen it, you know? And I'm like, well, you're welcome. That'll be $5. No. But no, seriously, like it was pretty bad. But we had a kiddie pool. We don't have a pool set up here, but for lots of reasons, we just don't. It's a commitment issue thing, if I'm being honest. It is a commitment issue, but like we're a kiddie pool family. Like, I mean, we would be a total pool family if we could just commit to that. But we can't. And that's a whole other thing. But yeah, so we had a kiddie pool, one of those rectangle blow up ones. I got one from Aldi, got it on sale for like $20. This was pre like inflation and shortages and stuff like that. You got to keep that in mind. Whoa, weren't those were the days, right? Now pools, like the pool shortage I think came before the toilet paper shortage, and it's amazing how much they went up. Because I got that one for like $20 at Aldi's, or 18. I think I got it for like $18 at Aldi. Anyway, it got a hole in it right away. We set ours up on the driveway and stuff, so it's all that. But anyway, so it crapped out on us. So we just went up to Walmart and got one for like $35 or whatever it is. Those, you know, the blue, the rectangle, they blow up. You know what I'm talking about, with the white on the top. And so we lived in it. Every day we lived in it. And I'm telling you, it was amazing. And that helped me through my pregnancy tremendously. I was like, I can never be pregnant in the wintertime. First of all, you got to put a million layers on because I'm a person who runs cold. And I didn't necessarily run hot, In my pregnancy with my daughter, I mean, not really. I don't feel like I did. Sometimes a little bit more, but like not too bad. So I'm like, I would freeze my butt off in the wintertime, but I would be this blimp and I would have to like layer up. I wear some layers in the wintertime. I'm not kidding you. I wear layers inside, outside, don't matter. I'm layered up. That's what I am. And I thought I wouldn't be able to do that. Plus, the relief of getting in a kiddie pool or, you know, whatever, any body of water. But for us, it was every night we were in the kiddie pool. And just that takes the gravity, you know, like it just takes the weight off. And it was tremendous. And I was like, I wouldn't be able to do this in the wintertime. You know, we don't have an indoor pool. And so I was like, yeah, this is the way to go. And I feel the same this time, but we don't have a pool. So actually, a friend of mine, it was the friend that I mentioned in another video, was disappointed because I was like wearing the wrong shirt. My belly didn't like pooch out enough. Anyway, her parents have offered to give us a pool. We were going to buy one, but they actually offered to give us a pool because they're a pool family for sure. And they have a big above ground pool, and they had a big mess on their hands with it last year. So they just bought one of those, like the top blows up and it's blue. It was like a 10-foot circle, you know what I mean? Anyway, so she has offered to give that to us for free. And I'm like, holy cow. There must be a jet going over. So anyway, so yeah, we're like, okay, so today it was my last day working. And so I guess we're going to run at some point the rest of this week or the weekend, or at some point we're going to run out to their house and pick up a pool and get that set up. And I'm looking very forward to it because the little bits of like things that I have going on, I feel like will be great with the pool. And especially, hello, I'm getting ready to go in my 3rd trimester. That was when that pool was like very, very, very important to me. I was like, yes. So that being said, you know, that is a difference because we had a pool by this time in my pregnancy last time. Like by June, we had a pool and I was getting in it and stuff like that. And I was trying to think like when my preeclampsia symptoms really started like showing up and amping up and all that kind of stuff. And I feel like I was already maybe exhibiting some symptoms now, but like by my 7th month. By my 7th month was when it really got where we're like, okay, this is something, and we started bringing it up to the doctor, and the doctor was blowing it off, you know, kind of a thing. I'm trying to think if it was the last 2 or 3 weeks of my pregnancy with my daughter. There was no denying it. There was nothing that could get the swelling down. There was nothing helped. Nothing. Just this one oil that my husband would rub on my legs for me before bed that would have the swelling partially down in the morning when I woke up. But otherwise, there was nothing that helped. Nothing. But I know that like I'm not to that stage in the game yet. I'm not to that timeline yet. And I am trying to pay attention to all that kind of stuff and also kind of keep that timeline in my mind for that reason. I am now starting to regularly take and document my blood pressure, just because that, you know, just all part of the preeclampsia thing, just to kind of keep an eye on things, just to monitor. So, anyway, that was like mostly about what I was going to talk about with the summer thing. I think I'm just a summer pregnancy woman. It just works for me. Some women are like, absolutely not. You could not pay me enough money, you know, and all this. And that's fine. That's fine. I'm just saying different things work for different people. And I think that I'm like a summer pregnancy person as long as I have a pool. I need a pool. Especially where I live. You know, I do live in like, there's a lot of humidity and stuff here, so. Hence the hair. I mean, you know. Anyway, so some differences some things that I think are impacting me. I'm not going to compare like everything in my pregnancies because basically everything is different. Everything is different. I'm carrying differently. I feel different. The baby's movements are different, just like, and I've mentioned that in videos and stuff, but like literally everything about this pregnancy is different. Even my symptoms, like things are just different. Part of it, and I was talking to my pregnancy twin about this actually, part of it I think is the lifestyle thing. Because basically, my lifestyle is different with a toddler than it was without a child in some different ways. Like I said, my husband and I were very busy, and we were very busy, and the busyness was different then than it is now because we stayed active. We did things, whatever. I'm not saying that we were constantly on the go and, doing things out with friends. I see other people that are a lot more active than we've ever been. But we were, like, we would be outside a lot. We would go places, do things. And to me, our actions and our activities had a lot of longevity to them. It was not like all this short, whatever. Where with a toddler, you're busy all day, every day. You're busy, busy, busy. But it's like start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. It's not like, okay, we're going to go do this. And then you go and you do that. And you're not thinking about anything else. You're doing that. It's not like that. So like, it's like my longevity and my stamina is just, it's not the same this time. And I'm noticing it. And I'm noticing pregnancy impact my body in a different way than it did with my daughter. And I think that that's a lot of it. The same with like me losing my breath. I'm wondering because not only did I make a point to get out and walk regularly whenever I was pregnant with my daughter, but just in general, I feel like my lungs were in a little bit better shape from those types of like longer term activities. So, I mean, that's just my theory. It's just kind of what I've put together because it's just how I'm feeling. It really literally is just how I'm feeling, where the starting and stopping, like, yes, I'm busy all day and it's draining and it's tiresome. And, that's whether you're pregnant or not. And like, all those types of things, but it's starting and stopping. So yeah, my stamina is just not the same. And I'm noticing like I really need to be working on my lower body because my lower body is going to be carrying a lot of weight and a lot of whatever. And like, in order for me to labor the way that I would like to labor, it's not the way that I was able to labor with my daughter, but for me to labor the way that I would like to labor, I need my lower body strength. I need strength in anyway, but then also I am feeling the need to do something because like with my lungs and with, stuff like that, because with my daughter, I labored. Well, I had really weird labor and like it's a whole story and I'm not going to keep going into it, but I labored for a long time. Let's just put it that way. And I pushed for almost 3 hours. Okay, that requires some longevity, some stamina, some breathing, it requires a lot. And so it is a bit like I need to be doing some training for that. But I haven't done it up till now, and I'm like, great, I'm going to start this in the middle of a heat advisory when I'm almost in my 3rd trimester. So, maybe I have, like, failed myself. I don't know. But I am noticing differences, and I think some of it has to do with my lifestyle prior to getting pregnant both times, because they're different from each other. So that being said, I do think that I need to be doing some work on myself, do more physical activity for longer periods of time. It's just a struggle to be able to do that with a toddler. It just really is. I'm going to have to like make that time, just make that time. And then sometimes it's like, I don't feel like doing that. Well, you're not going to feel like being in labor either, so you really just need to push through. And I need to get more of that mindset and that attitude about it. And so I'm going to try to do that. Other things that I've noticed, just like I said, the way I'm carrying this baby as opposed to the way that I carried my daughter, it's different. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how that develops into my 3rd trimester. It's funny because everyone says how huge I am. You're just huge. They did with my daughter. And my mom keeps saying that I'm bigger with this one than I was with my daughter. And I said, well, I think that's funny. To me, that's funny that she says that, because I was thinking for like the first 14 weeks of my pregnancy with my daughter, my mom and my mother-in-law both told me I just had a cake belly. Like I was getting a belly once I started getting one, but it just looked like a cake belly. And that actually hurt my feelings. And then I felt like I got a pregnancy belly, but then all of a sudden I went from just having a cake belly to like, oh my gosh, you're huge. But I'm still, the differences in the way that I'm carrying, I've noticed it since day one, which is actually kind of interesting to me, and it's kind of exciting. I mean, I know you carry, like they say you carry boys and girls different, blah, 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 blah. But I'm like, I have the same body. And I'm like, this is another girl. It's just funny to me that pregnancies are so different to the point that I'm carrying a girl different this time, you know? It's just funny. But I do think it'll be interesting to see what that looks like for me getting into like the third trimester. Because I was really bad also about taking pictures of my pregnancy with my daughter. Or if I took them, I don't know where they're at. I didn't like get them developed. Maybe they're on like my husband's computer or something. I don't know. But like I have nothing to reference back to, which is why I'm trying to take pictures of myself every week. I'm trying to do like update videos and do a bump date in those. You know, again, it's all documentation for myself, but just to go back and have something to look at. I mean, I feel like I'm very pregnant now. I'm very pregnant. No one is going to look at me and assume I'm just fat. They're just not. There's clearly a baby here. And I do see other women who don't show as much as me or whatever. And I'm just assuming that, you know, it's just a different body type, you know. I have a pretty small frame. Not only am I 5 foot tall, but I have like, I'm of a very like small structure. And my doctor even noticed that. And he said that because my daughter, my 2-year-old, she's always measured, you know, pretty big. She's always measured in the higher percentiles on her height and stuff. And it's just funny because I'm 5 foot tall, my husband's 6'2". And so this baby is measuring kind of ahead of herself within the womb. And I don't know if that has to do, they're not changing my due date because it's not off by like a full week or whatever, but she is measuring ahead like of her time, you know? And so I made a joke at my last doctor's appointment. I said, oh, another kid that's going to be bigger than me. And he got tickled about it. And he was like, well, you really don't have much choice. And that was when I was laughing. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm 5 foot tall. My husband's 6'2". He said, no, but really, he's like, you're a very, very petite woman. He said, you're a very small frame. And so he goes, yeah, your kids are probably going to be bigger than you. You know, he was just like, you're so tiny. I'm like, yeah, I know. So like, that's why to me, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be like way out there, you know? And my mom had taken a picture of me. So glad we have those pictures because like we have them. And come to find out, that was like a week or two before I had my daughter. So I was very near the end of my pregnancy. In my 8th month, obviously I didn't make it to my 9th month. In my 8th month, but, you know, I was big. I was pretty big, you know. And so I think I'll get that way with this one. But I'm interested to see how I am holding this one. Because literally, I showed pretty early. I was having to conceal it before we announced. And we announced at like 12 weeks. And I was having to kind of conceal a bump. And what's funny is, it's true, with my daughter, with my 2-year-old, I did get a belly by around that time where I was like, I'm looking heavier or this or that, whatever. But like, this was like this was a pregnancy belly. This was like a round that I got this time was like a round, hard belly, where the first time that's not how it was. So, and my weight was a little bit different, you know, and stuff, I guess, but it's just crazy the differences that happen between pregnancies and how that works. Again, within the same body and having the same gender. It's really strange, but I think it's really miraculous also, you know. So this is just a lot of blah blah to talk about that. But yeah, I do, even though like I've been struggling and I've been struggling the last few days in this heat advisory, I still think summer pregnancy is for me, but I gotta get that pool. I gotta get that pool sooner rather than later because it's time. We're there. We're there. I've noticed like moderate, like mild, I guess I'll say mild, some mild swelling, but again, I am a person who swells no matter what. It's very, very humid out. I am pregnant. Like a lot of variables here, so I'm trying not to freak out about it or read too much into it or immediately think, oh my gosh, I have preeclampsia, blah, blah, blah. I am monitoring things, as I said before, trying to do that, but like the swelling is kind of happening a little bit. Not bad though at all. Not any more than I would probably have not being pregnant, if I'm being honest. It's just there. So I'm like, you know, if we get a pool, I think I'll be feeling much, much better. Just to be able to go get in it whenever my body's feeling really heavy or I'm feeling achy or just I need to cool down or I need to get some swelling down or just whatever, stuff like that. Another thing that's different about this pregnancy versus last is, and this was something my pregnancy twin brought up to me, and I was like, I know, and I've thought about it. I haven't been to the chiropractor. I don't remember at what point I started going to the chiropractor when I was pregnant with my daughter, but I ended up going regularly to the chiropractor. And I always felt like $1,000,000 when I came out of the chiropractor. I haven't gone this time simply for the fact that I don't know where to go. I loved my chiropractor whenever I was pregnant, but then something like really changed after I had my daughter. His whole attitude changed and things were just different, and I don't know. And so I kind of became, because I had like an issue and there was this debate over whether I tore a pec muscle or not. That's a whole story. But anyway, I had an issue up here. Pretty sure I had a torn pec muscle. I did have a chiropractor tell me I had torn pec muscle, but my chiropractor was saying I did not. But anyway, so there was like a whole thing with that, and I just decided that I was not as happy with my care as I once was. That's all. He is located in my town, so it was so easy. I would just take a break time, and he was so fast too. Just go in there, and he'd get you set up, pop you, and then you're on your way. And when I was pregnant, it made me feel way better, and I loved it. But now, again, I'm not sure about going back to him. So my husband had I found another chiropractor for my husband. And we have both been very happy with what he's done with my husband and the way that he goes about doing things. He is not in this town. He is a half an hour in the opposite direction of the town I have to go to, like for my doctor. So like I go like 45 minutes one way. Well, this chiropractor would be 30 minutes the other way. And that's what happens when you live like kind of rural, you know, we're not in a city or anything. But anyway, so, and it's not like it's super out of the way. I don't really have business that way, but I have people, I have stuff that way. It's just the fact that I'm going that way so often, 45 minutes that way. I would kind of like to find a chiropractor like along that path somewhere, you know. And also this chiropractor my husband's going to is a spinal doctor, which I think is great, and that's exactly what my husband needs. But I feel like my pelvis needs to be focused on, you know. The thing is I don't remember when I started going to the chiropractor when I was pregnant with my daughter. I know I had a pretty good sized belly on me. It might have been around this time or a little before. I don't really know. But I remember feeling like things were just really out of whack and I was sore and I needed to go. I don't really feel that way this time, which is really strange. And maybe it's because I'm not as active or my activity is different. I'm not doing that longevity. I'm not going on the walks I should. You know, maybe it's all those things that is like contributing to that. But I don't feel like my skeleton is out of whack like I did when I was pregnant with my daughter. And like so the urgency, the need to go to a chiropractor, it's not the same. I just feel like I need to be doing it for good measure. Does that make sense? You know? So that's another difference that is between the two pregnancies that I find really odd, because I remember, and I do know that by the time you get to your third trimester, your pelvis does feel wonky. It feels weird because your hormones are kicking in and loosening up all your joints and like all that kind of stuff. So it is kind of, you're like, eh. So that's another thing that I think, oh my gosh, I really should find a chiropractor before that time, you know. But I just don't know what to do. So I'm currently not under chiropractic care. And I was doing that by this time with my daughter, so I don't know. Anyway, I think that's enough blah blah, because that was a lot of blah blah. But I just kind of wanted to touch base on that and talk about summer pregnancy and talk about some differences. Thanks for putting up with me, I guess. I am excited. I'm always excited to do like weekly updates. But I am excited to do an upcoming video I have had planned for a while, and that's the What's in My Hospital Bag video. I'm excited to do that one, but I don't have everything ready yet. You know, I'm 26 weeks pregnant, so I don't have everything ready yet, but I am making pretty good progress, and I'm excited to do that one. So stay tuned for my update videos and my What's in My Hospital Bag video. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. I'm not sure. But I'll just post as things come up, I guess. Thanks for joining me on this ramble journey. I'll see you next time. Bye.